Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
Watching this new side of Jennifer emerge left me feeling both startled and strangely aroused. This passionate, sensual woman was so different from her usual composed, professional self. Her uninhibited expressions and movements awakened something primal in me, and discovering this hidden aspect of her personality was oddly thrilling. Sarah and I observed them, our own excitement building as our eyes met. The warmth of her hand in mine sent electricity through my body. I'm Michael, a 42-year-old sales department manager at a construction company. While work kept me busy, I always thought my home life was pretty solid. My wife Jennifer, who's 36, recently turned her passion into success when she quit her day job to focus on her successful personal finance YouTube channel that she launched last year. She's got this amazing energy about her, super outgoing and always surrounded by friends. Jennifer's got this elegant, slender frame that perfectly matches her sophisticated personality. What really gets me every time are those adorable dimples that appear when she smiles. Our story began 6 years ago at a friend's get-together. Back then, Jennifer was working her way up at a financial firm while running her investment blog on the side. We clicked instantly over conversations about finance and real estate, and before we knew it, we were walking down the aisle just 3 months later. From day one, our chemistry was off the charts. We couldn't keep our hands off each other and loved exploring new territories together. That spark stayed strong well into our early married life. But you know how life goes. Her YouTube channel started demanding more and more of her energy while I was buried in work myself. Without realizing it, we started drifting apart, barely finding time for each other. The fact that we didn't have kids seemed to make that distance feel even greater. That's when the Wilsons entered the picture. Over several dinner dates, we got to know this fascinating couple. Chris, the husband, was this dynamic 29-year-old tech startup founder. He and Jennifer really hit it off, constantly bouncing ideas off each other about YouTube content. His wife, Sarah, 27, was quite the head-turner. She had this incredible figure that she clearly worked hard to maintain, different from Jennifer's build but equally striking. Sometimes she'd give me these looks that would make my heart skip a beat. New Year's Eve rolled around, and we had the Wilsons over. Chris raised his beer. Here's to another great year working together, Mike. I couldn't help but notice Sarah as she settled in next to me. You're looking absolutely stunning tonight, Sarah. She gave me this shy smile that could light up a room. Oh, stop. You're making me blush. The evening flowed naturally. Jennifer and Chris got deep into a conversation about cooking, while Sarah and I chatted about work and our hobbies. We kept the wine flowing, and before we knew it, we'd gone through quite a few bottles. The living room was filled with that perfect holiday vibe as we all lounged around with our wine. Jennifer's face had that lovely flush she gets when she drinks more than usual, and Sarah was definitely loosening up too. Chris just sat back with this knowing smile, taking it all in. On the TV, there was this New Year's game show where celebrities had to face funny penalties for wrong answers. How about we spice things up with a quiz game? Sarah suggested playfully, her eyes twinkling from the wine. Chris jumped at the idea, and Jennifer nodded enthusiastically. What's the deal? I asked, which made Sarah laugh mischievously. Losers have to do tequila shots, Sarah proposed with a gleam in her eye. Tequila? I wavered, but Jennifer and Chris were already heading to the kitchen to grab the bottle and shot glasses. We gave in to Sarah's idea. She pulled up a trivia quiz on her phone, and we played couples against each other. Maybe it was the alcohol affecting our game, but Jennifer and I kept striking out, 3 tequila shots down. Sarah couldn't help but flash a victorious smile as we moved on to round 2. This isn't exactly fair since we keep losing, I said. My words slightly slurred. Why don't we switch up the teams? Sarah's eyes lit up at my suggestion. Shots are getting boring, Chris chimed in. Let's turn this into a strip quiz. Sarah eagerly backed him up. Now that would make things interesting. Jennifer blushed but didn't protest. The alcohol had definitely lowered everyone's inhibitions. As the wine and tequila worked their magic, we found ourselves making suggestions that would have seemed outrageous just hours earlier. Sarah had completely loosened up, and Jennifer was showing a bolder side I rarely saw. We kept the rules simple. Women would remove 5 items: top, bottom, bra, underwear. Men would remove 4, which gave the women an edge. One wrong answer meant one piece of clothing had to go. The first question popped up. What's the longest river in the world? A. Nile. B. Amazon. C. Yangtze. Sarah and I confidently chose the Nile, but the Amazon turned out to be correct. With a resigned sigh, Jennifer and I took off our tops. The sight of her in her bra was captivating. She looked amazing even in just her underwear. She gave me a flirtatious smile as her eyes wandered over my muscular build, her finger tracing the contours of my physique. While Chris watched us with intrigue, I barely noticed. I was too distracted by Sarah's figure. She seemed to catch me looking and subtly adjusted her position, teasing me with her body language. The next question appeared on the screen. What is the most populous city in the world? A. Tokyo. B. Shanghai. C. Delhi. Jennifer and Chris confidently chose Shanghai, but Tokyo turned out to be the correct answer. Jennifer paused for a moment, then with a shy smile, slowly removed her top. I couldn't help but notice Chris's intense gaze as Jennifer undressed. She seemed aware of his attention, moving sensually that made my heart race with conflicting emotions. The game had everyone on the edge of their seats. Between the buzz from the drinks and the growing anticipation, we were all seeing new sides of each other. The contrast between Sarah's bold confidence and Jennifer's demure playfulness added an electric charge to the already heated atmosphere. Jennifer reached for the dimmer switch, softening the living room lights to create a more intimate ambience. In the gentle glow, I could see everyone's faces flushed from the alcohol, creating this dreamy, surreal feeling in the room. Third question appeared. How many bones are there in the human body? A. 206. B. 214. C. 224. According to the rules, both teams missed the mark. Following the rules, we all stripped off our bottoms. As we saw Sarah and Jennifer, Chris and I couldn't help but appreciate each other's wives. Sarah's curves were incredibly alluring, while Jennifer's elegant figure seemed to glow in the dim light. Maybe it was the alcohol, but both women seemed to have shed their usual inhibitions, making the atmosphere even more charged. We each knocked back another shot of tequila before the next question. The alcohol was definitely hitting harder now. Everyone's cheeks were flushed, and the room felt warmer. Sarah set down her glass with a slight wobble, making Jennifer giggle as she leaned against Chris's shoulder for support. Fourth question appeared. What is the highest mountain in the world? A. Everest. B. K2C. Kilimanjaro. Sarah and I nailed it with Everest, while Jennifer and Chris missed with K2. Taking their turn, Jennifer shyly unclasped her bra, and Chris slipped off his underwear. The alcohol had everyone feeling uninhibited. When Jennifer's bare breasts were revealed, I caught the way Chris's expression changed and Sarah's knowing smile as she watched them. My own emotions swirled as I found my attention drawn to Sarah. Chris made the first move. His naked form betrayed his obvious attraction to Jennifer as he gently caressed her breasts before drawing her into a passionate kiss. Jennifer responded eagerly to his touch, her hands exploring his body with growing desire. Watching this new side of Jennifer emerge left me feeling both startled and strangely aroused. This passionate, sensual woman was so different from her usual composed, professional self. Her uninhibited expressions and movements awakened something primal in me, and discovering this hidden aspect of her personality was oddly thrilling. Sarah and I observed them, our own excitement building as our eyes met. The warmth of her hand in mine sent electricity through my body. Almost naturally, we found ourselves sharing a deep kiss. My hands discovered her breasts, their fullness offering a thrilling new sensation. The sound of Jennifer and Chris's passionate breathing filled the room. The mixture of emotions was intoxicating. Jealousy and arousal intertwined as I heard my wife's pleasure. Sarah's intoxicating scent grew stronger, drawing us deeper into our own passionate encounter. I decided to surrender to the moment, letting go of all inhibitions. Sarah's silhouette was mesmerizing in the soft light. "That feels amazing," she whispered as I traced her curves with gentle touches, her soft moans encouraging me. We explored each other slowly, finding those special spots that made her shiver with pleasure. Our bodies moved in perfect rhythm at the edge of the sofa as she wrapped her arms around my neck, her sweet sounds of pleasure growing more intense. The room filled with the sound of our passionate breathing and the heat of intense desire. Sarah's intoxicating perfume and the silky smoothness of her skin drove my excitement to new heights as our movements became more urgent. Her increasingly passionate moans fueled my desire further. Our bodies moved as one, sharing warmth and passion. She dug her nails into my back as I traced kisses down her neck, losing myself completely in the moment. Our passion built to a crescendo until we reached our peak together. This unexpected encounter awakened something in me, a sense of freedom and spontaneity I hadn't experienced in years. It felt like rediscovering the excitement of youth, breaking free from the predictable patterns of everyday life. I noticed Jennifer and Chris had disappeared from the living room, presumably retreating to the bedroom. A wave of unease washed over me as I thought about my wife. What was happening between Jennifer and Chris? I felt an odd mixture of jealousy and yearning. While Sarah's presence was captivating, her scent and touch so different from Jennifer's, I found myself missing my wife more intensely than ever. For the first time since we'd said, "I do" 6 years ago, I grappled with complex emotions about sharing her with another man. Though my connection with Sarah was undeniably passionate, I knew it was just a fleeting moment of desire. Real love lived in the years I'd spent with Jennifer, in our shared memories, in the trust we'd built through understanding and supporting each other, and most importantly, in our deep emotional bond. No amount of physical passion could compare to what Jennifer and I shared. When morning came, Sarah softly ran her fingers through my hair. She looked radiant in the morning light as she whispered, "Good morning." I gently stroked her hair and gave her a tender kiss. In the kitchen, we found Jennifer and Chris already sharing their morning coffee. A delicate silence hung in the air as we all avoided mentioning the previous night's intimate encounters. As the morning arrived, Sarah and Chris prepared to leave. At the doorway, Sarah gave me a lingering hug while Chris embraced Jennifer tenderly. An unspoken understanding passed between us as we watched them drive away. Looking at Jennifer in the morning light, guilt washed over me. After weeks of late nights at the office and missed dinners, I'd neglected our relationship. Despite the exhaustion evident on her face, her natural beauty still took my breath away. The events of last night kept replaying in my mind. Seeing Jennifer with Chris stirred up a whirlwind of emotions, jealousy tangled with excitement, anxiety mixed with desire. But somehow, watching her with someone else had made me realize just how precious she was to me. We'd fallen into that comfortable routine that long-term couples often do, taking our connection for granted. Now I felt something awakening between us, that spark of passion we'd almost forgotten. Suddenly, I couldn't resist pulling her close. She'd never seemed more desirable than in this moment, making my heart race like we were falling in love all over again. When I guided her to the kitchen counter, she melted into my kiss, wrapping her arms around my neck. I lifted her thigh, pressing closer as I trailed kisses down her neck, whispering, "I love you," against her skin. Turning her around, I had her brace herself against the counter as I embraced her from behind. My hands slipped beneath her blouse, exploring her curves until our passion peaked together in a moment of pure ecstasy. In a way, we owed Sarah and Chris a debt of gratitude. What started as an unexpected encounter had become a catalyst for rekindling our relationship. Weeks later, Jennifer noticed the change, saying with a smile, "You've been different lately." "Let's just say I've rediscovered what matters most," I replied, pulling her into a gentle embrace. As we stepped into the new year, it felt like a fresh chapter in our love story. We knew we'd need to have that conversation with Sarah and Chris eventually, but for now, we were lost in rediscovering each other, stronger and more connected than ever before.